Is. Welcome to a live stream on Thursday, the 2nd of April. With myself and Oradin from Main Event Mike, if you are not watching, if you are not subscribed, please do subscribe to their channel. It's picking up some pace and some momentum now, isn't it, with subscribers and views and such like, and shorts and all of that sort of stuff. So please do subscribe. We today are going to discuss WrestleMania because we are 16 days away from WrestleMania Saturday. I am 2 weeks from flying to Vegas to go and see WrestleMania. And in my opinion, and Odin will have different opinions, but I think the momentum's really picked up in the last couple of weeks. I think there was momentum with the bigger matches, but with the card and with what's been announced, especially with what's been announced in the last SmackDown and on thing. Even though some of them were predictable, some of them were not as predictable. I think in terms of the answers, I think we've got a really good card, which we can go through. Or do you want to just kick off with any initial thoughts, and then we'll kick, and because there's 12 matches, so we've got about an hour. We're going to be live for about an hour. Any initial thoughts?
Yeah, coming from I think Monday Night Raw this past Monday, it did feel like a road to WrestleMania type show, I would say. I think with now we're seeing more matches being added, and I think how things are kind of looking towards WrestleMania, it does have that feel of WrestleMania, especially with us literally being 2 weeks out now after Monday Night Raw. There's some matches I'm looking forward to. There's some matches I'm just like, the build's kind of meh, but we'll see how it goes when we get to the day.
Yeah. No, I think there's a let's start with the negative one because I think there's a really obvious one. The women's world title, women's WWE title, isn't it? The women's WWE title. So Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill, which on paper I'm looking for. Like I think this is like obviously two big women in more sense
Mhm,
than one. In terms of
mhm.
names, in terms of star. Obviously, Rhea's probably the biggest star in the women's division, but for whatever reason, it's given me a bit. I wouldn't say it's Charlotte and Tiffy vibes from last year, but there's a bit of don't know. We don't know if some of that hatred or online was real or whatever, and they haven't carried it in, and they haven't been unprofessional. But maybe because they haven't carried it in, it's just not really clicked for me. And you know me, I'm Mr. Positive about WWE wrestling and that stuff. But I have to say, I should be more excited about this match. I would say of the 12, this is the one I'm probably not as hyped as I should be about.
Yeah, I agree. Because yesterday, me and Billy did our WrestleMania thoughts, and I was losing words to try and think of anything positive. And this is nothing in disrespect to Jade or Rhea. I think Jade has her strengths. Rhea clearly has her strengths. I'm in the opposite about the match. I'm not really looking forward to the match because I know Jade's strengths. Jade's is not the strongest in terms of the graps or wrestling aspect. It's really just about how she looks, her strength, and also other things, which is really good. I mean, and that's the reason why they brought Jade Cargill into WWE. That's the reason why they have her here. I think I saw a post where I think she's going to be on the Joe Budden podcast very soon. So
Yeah.
these are the things that they want to utilize Jade Cargill for. But the feud itself, it's just been kind of whatever. I mean, whatever heat that was going on Twitter hasn't translated here. I know they've kind of copied the whole baddies thing, what they did in AEW, but now they've done it with Mia Yim and BFAB, which is fine to give Jade Cargill like some bodyguards or some people around her and form a faction, which is fine. But I just haven't really cared for it. And the match itself, same thing. I'm just kind of like whatever with it.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I think, like you said, if you look at Jade Cargill, you look at her wider reach. She's obviously looks amazing. Obviously Rhea Ripley does it. I think they've got that. They should be there, and I think maybe it's quite. I don't know if they were waiting for Bianca if she was going to get cleared or something. I don't
Yeah,
know. You don't
possibly.
know. It almost because I mean, come on, listen now. Bianca versus Jade now would be. I mean, Bianca versus anyone would be amazing because we haven't seen her for a year. But
Yeah.
and she is one of, in my opinion, as I've always, I think she's the most underrated women's wrestler, one of the most underrated wrestlers there is. But it's almost like they're waiting for that. Obviously, Rhea wins the chamber. Rhea wasn't even on SmackDown. Obviously, been tagging with EO.
Yeah.
I think it's
Mhm.
been. I mean, in fairness, to them, they've got a few weeks to recover. To get some momentum. They've still got
Mhm.
two, three Smackdowns before. But then it could end up being a sleeper good match. Where your
Mhm.
expectations are low and it gets there. I think Rhea will always have the crowd, won't she? I mean, obviously she's a face, but I think,
Yeah.
but there is an issue though because she didn't do anything to turn heel. She just got sorry, to turn face. So she's, I guess, in the way she acts and is she's a traditional heel. No, in some ways anyway. Obviously, the EO friendship maybe is a bit different, but she just
Mhm.
got super over. People liked her. I get it. I get why, and it was the right
Yeah.
thing to do to turn a baby face. But I think in this scenario where you've got clear heel, people want to boo Jade, and aligning her with a couple might help. And they got a bit of heat, to be fair, on SmackDown, didn't they? Because let's be honest, Michin and
Yeah.
BFAB ain't been getting any heat anywhere time soon. So at least for that it helped. But yeah, I would say this is the one that is going to take some coming round over the next three SmackDowns. Something's got to happen before we get excited about that. Let's flip it to you already. So that's the one that I think we both say is probably the least exciting. What would you say is the one out of the other 11 matches you're looking forward to the most?
Obafemi Brock Lesnar. Obafemi Brock Lesnar. Just
Yeah.
that. And before I continue, I think someone said in the comments about how I think it said if for those that think Seth Rollins and Gunther has no build, remember Edge and Booker T had a WrestleMania match over shampoo. I do remember that. I do remember
Yeah.
that. We'll get
Yeah.
we'll get to that, but I do remember. I
Yeah.
think that was that Mania 19 or am I
19,
wrong?
yeah. I think it was
Yeah,
19. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, Obafemi Brock. I think what they've done so far, I'm hooked. The feud is so good that Triple H had to get involved. That tells you
Yeah.
everything you need to know.
Yeah,
So
I'm generally getting goosebumps. So I was in New York last weekend. I was there for Raw. Me and Tali were there, and we were just talking about before we started going live. The crowd was hot. The crowd was hot in general, but for
mhm,
this bit, oh, Oba, they've transitioned Oba and Trick from NXT
mhm.
amazingly. Like the
Yeah,
transition has been seamless in terms of that.
yeah,
They've booked him perfectly in terms of getting to where, because let's be honest, Oba's just had like three or four squash matches, hasn't he? He's not had
yeah,
on the main roster. I mean, in terms of
mhm,
that, he's hugely over. He can speak on the mic. He does that. He's got the presence.
mhm,
The 2 weeks before where he did a fall from grace, then he just clothesline. I mean, that's how
mhm.
good Brock can be, doesn't it? Like, he just the one clothesline the week before this week was amazing. The way he took it, and this week
Yeah,
I have to say that was the most electric the crowd was. It was amazing. I was obviously there. I just posted a reaction video just to. I mean, that poor. It looked worse. It's not as bad on TV, but it looked really bad from the angle we were sitting, where Brock just. And Brock's quite reckless, isn't he? So you don't want to take an F5 from Brock. But obviously, Obafemi hit Adam Pearce, and as you said, I think the perfect way to bring Triple H in, because you can't. Obviously the big boss, but you can't hit him because of his heart problems. So
yeah,
this is where you bring him in. So you bring him in. This is the only thing that can stop it. So, um,
yeah.
yeah, I would say I would say one of my top three in terms of what I'm looking forward to the most. Um, does Obafemi lose the first match? Does Brock win? Does what do you? I mean, Ob's got to win, hasn't he? But Brock's only got 4 months, hasn't he, or something? I'm assuming, but yeah,
Yeah, we like we don't know right now. We don't know. I know Cena gave the thought that potentially Brock Lesnar's going to retire at SummerSlam in his hometown, but I think with how momentum's going, it is kind of you're kind of like scared of of what things are going to do because for the last 2 weeks, Oba has looked very dominant, and this week was a stalemate.
tradition.
Like I
Yeah,
feel like one of these weeks, Brock Lesnar has to get a return back or a seat back to Obafemi.
has to.
Um,
Yeah.
hopefully, hopefully it will be. I think the next time Brock Lesnar come back is maybe the week of
Yeah, there's only
WrestleMania.
two more Raws
So,
anyway, isn't there? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so that's what I'm hoping for. I think Oba needs this win. I understand the necessary of like Lesnar and keeping him protected or over, but I feel like this would do so much for Obafemi if he wins
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
So we'll see. But for me, I'm just hoping for an Obafemi win. What I'll just say
yeah,
is that they've done an incredible job with this feud so far. It's simple but very effective. Oba, and I think hands off to even Brock Lesnar for the selling and the understanding, and also how he's been able to make Oba look strong. Even that 1 week where I think you don't see it, but I think from people that are paying attention, he tells Oba quickly, "Put your foot on my chest," and just to sell it
yeah,
over
yeah,
as
yeah,
much as
yeah. He did
possible.
that to Drew once,
So
didn't he? I think it was Drew or
yeah,
someone like that, didn't he? He's when I think they've always said this, haven't they? When Brock wants to sell,
yeah,
he will make someone look amazing. I remember
yeah,
an interview with Seth. I think remember when he first was fighting Seth, and it was like a squash match. It was almost like, Seth was a champion, wasn't he? And he was just whipping him. And then when he
Yeah,
finally got the win, and he got that, and he said he had to earn Brock Lesnar's respect, and then he made him look good,
yeah,
in terms of that. But when Brock wants to, and this is why you've got the build. But I don't. I think Obi will win. I'm not sure it's that like 100% he will win. But you're absolutely right. Brock needs to do something before that. If Obi beats him up every week for the next or one more week, yeah, that's we know. Well, in typical wrestling booking, the Mania before, whoever gets the beat down doesn't always win, do they? So we'll
yeah.
see. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see where we get to that. So I would say my one. I'll probably go with the main event. Like I'm like these two, Punk and Reigns, are probably if I end up committing to a Mount Rushmore.
Hmm.
I always say HBK, Roman Reigns are definitely on there. Punk's probably on there. Like, so for me, and they're my two of my favorites as well. Like, as in two of the Mount Rushmore and two of my favorites to watch, to listen to do all of that.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
I think they've from that first promo in the night after the Royal Rumble, was it, or the
Mhm.
week after the Royal Rumble, or whenever it was,
Yeah.
where Reigns, yeah, it was because they had the rule back in America, didn't they, after the
Yeah.
Saudi thing, I think. And
Yeah.
from that promo onwards, where he said, "I hate you," I think they've done a really good job. I don't know what it came across like on TV, but it was the crowd was wild, like the reaction, and obviously Punk. I don't know how far it went to on TV, but Punk was like climbing over the barrier, arguing with a fan. He was like doing all of
Yeah. I
this sort
saw
of
that.
stuff, and
Saw that.
it's really split. Obviously, they're two hugely popular wrestlers, arguably two of the most
Mhm.
popular wrestlers of the last sort of 10, 15 years. In terms of that, so I think yeah, no, I think everyone thinks Roman Reigns is going to win, but Roman Reigns is still a part timer, so we'll if it starts a new bloodline, maybe, but I don't think that's as a given as maybe some people think. And there's obviously the potential for interference and whatever else. But I'm
Yeah.
very much I would say this and the upper Brock match and a couple of others as well. But this and the upper Brock match are the ones I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. I would think with CM Punk and Roman Reigns, it's been an interesting build from in my point of view. I think the first promo they had with each other was great and arguably the best promo battle of maybe 2026 so far. I think the way of where they've kind of went towards how they wanted to present this feud, if it's how Punk said the next week about Roman Reigns' dad, then they've went into mind games, then they've went into talking. What I think is that they've kind of went in a weird order when it for me it just hasn't been as effective as it been. I am looking forward to this match. I do think Punk has given his strengths. I do think Reigns has to an extent. I still think that that promo at back in I believe February is still their strongest. I just think they've been trying to get to that level. Some of it has been effective, like the Punk and Uso segment, where that was really done well. I think Jimmy came across well. Jay came across well. Um, I think it's just maybe for me there's just been times where it just hasn't been as effective in terms of reaching that level of where they did it the first
Mm.
time around. It almost feels like what it almost feels like they gave everything away. Maybe to me that all we wanted to say was on that first promo, and it was kind of like we're looking for different ideas. Like I'm gonna call you old now, or I'm gonna do this or this and this, which is cool, which is fine. And I'm actually happy that this week we instead of talking, we went straight to hands, which I think is deserved right now. And funny enough, what you talking about Punk fighting one of the fans, that's I thought that was one of the funniest bits of the whole show. Because Punk will do
Yeah,
that. There's many clips of CM Punk actually arguing with the fans. I
yeah,
think I remember this one clip. I think this was like what 2010, 2011 when it was like, I bet you watch TNA, don't you? Your
yeah,
friend does it. I remember those clips and him arguing with the fans because that's a way to kind of engage with the fans, kind of get them invested and invested in the feud, which they're both technically baby faces. I think Roman Reigns is still the same. He hasn't
yeah. He hasn't
changed.
changed character. He hasn't. Yeah,
He
yeah,
hasn't. He hasn't. And Punk is pretty much a babyface right now. And the thing is, Roman hasn't really shown an interest in the World Heavyweight title. This is a main event match for for the championship. But has Roman even mentioned the belt in any of his segments? No. It's just really the hatred for CM Punk, which I think is the biggest seller for this feud. His hatred towards CM Punk for what he has done to him, either it's with the Colt Cabana podcast or just how it didn't really propel him to the level that he should have been until it reached the 2020.
yeah, yeah.
So this is a feud where people, well, I'd say once CM Punk made his return, they were looking forward to this. How would Punk and Reigns go? I think the job has been they've done a decent job. I just think it hasn't reached the level of that first promo. But
Yeah,
we'll see
I,
how
I, I
that
don't
progresses.
disagree. Yeah, I don't. I think the problem is that promo was so good. We probably won't get a better promo the whole year. Like that was the level, and I don't think that's a slight on them. I think there is a thing. I think you're right. It was the right thing, even though I was there on Monday night, and I would have liked to seen a promo or hear them talk on them. I think it was absolutely the right thing to do to just go get straight to it because you're
Yeah.
right. There has been the back and forth. I don't think Roman Reigns is on Raw next week. So again, like Brock Lesnar, I think he's got. I think if I'm
Mhm.
right, he's got one more Raw, which is the Raw the week after next, in terms of what they do there. Will
Yeah.
be interesting. Speaking of interesting, so I know you might have slightly different thoughts on Cody versus Randy, but I think I'm assuming unless it's going to be Oba versus Brock, Cody versus Randy will main event night one, in terms
Yeah.
of WrestleMania. And if you haven't already, if you're watching this, you haven't seen the Randy Orton posted a video on Instagram. I think it was really early this morning. I saw it early this morning, but posted in the middle of the night or something or whatever that his social media team did, of him speaking to the person that he's been speaking to, saying that he will see them in St. Louis, Missouri, which is obviously where he's from, on Friday on
Mhm.
SmackDown. We also got, I thought, was a brilliant promo between Cody and promo, if you call it that, between Stephanie and obviously you're not expecting to see Cody, and you're definitely not expecting to see Stephanie McMahon at the beginning of Raw, but
Mhm.
obviously Madison Square Garden. I thought
Mhm.
they obviously alluded to Vince, which without saying him, it's obviously
Mhm.
you can feel the
Yeah.
history. And like I know it sounds a bit corny, but you can feel the history in Madison Square Garden. Obviously, it's the first WrestleMania, wasn't it? It's like the home of whatever they want to call it, home of WWE or whatever it is, in terms of that. And I think having Stephanie come out was a really good touch. I think she added something to this.
Yeah.
I find this interesting, and I don't think I know everyone's saying it's a problem because everyone's going to cheer Randy. I don't think that's. I think WWE know that they're not. There's nothing Randy Orton can do between now and then. Even if he did a DDT on Brandy and kissed her, obviously you can't copy the same exact thing. But I don't think there's anything you can do to stop. It's just a different world to like if you think of when WrestleMania
Mhm.
25 was, and even like, and then if you
Mhm.
go back even further, where heels were heels and everything like that. What
Mhm.
has Randy really done? He's beating up Cody and he's beating up Zack Ryder. Like he hasn't done anything that bad to take it. So I don't think
Yeah.
WWE don't know that he's not, he's going to get cheered, just like Cena last year. Cody will get, but Cody will still have his fans. It's just some of his fans aren't as loud as the Randy ones.
Mhm.
But I'm intrigued to see who it is. Um, I don't think it's going to be someone huge. Like I think it could be his dad. Um,
Yeah.
this
Uh,
to talk
yeah.
about Ric Flair, isn't it? I don't. I mean, I can't remember the last time Ric Flair appeared on WWE TV, so that'll be something. But
Mhm.
I don't know, Oren. What are you feeling about this potential main event of night one?
I do agree with your takes upon like where Randy Orton is in his career. Randy Orton's in a position where it's just tough to boo him, and I think when you have a guy who has a finisher that he has, where it's going to get reaction when he hits an RKO, any angle, whatever he does, it's gonna get a pop. I think that kind of leans itself to why did we make the decision of. I mean, I get why they wanted to do. They wanted to have a face and a heel for one of the WrestleMania main events, so that's understandable. I think the problem is just that as much as I like Cody Rhodes, I think you were running into a position where the things that he could do become a bit boring towards the audience because of the reactions. It's not a coincidence that the two WrestleManias in a row where he's facing people where the crowd are going to go the other side. Sure, this happened before. We can go back as early as like WrestleMania. I want to say 18, The Rock and Hulk Hogan, where Hulk Hogan got the biggest reaction out
Yes,
of The Rock, which is understandable.
and
These
it's
are
The
things that
Rock.
have
Yeah,
happened
yeah,
before. These are things that happen in the past, but I don't want it to become a thing that affects Cody's momentum to potentially become, as you have mentioned, the QB1 of WWE right now. What I think is that WWE offered Cody Rhodes Roman Reigns. He wasn't getting over, so they went, "I'm doing this route," and he's got this feud. Well, it's my opinion, but I just think that's what we got here because they wouldn't have done the whole Survivor Series War Games thing if they were alluding to that. But Cody Randy, they have a history. Legacy, which is funny because Stephanie was saying you should know who the, but he
yeah.
witnessed everything. He was there. He was an eyewitness, which was kind of funny when she was like, "You should know who he is." He does, but there's a lot of history there. I think the turn that they've done with Randy, it's an interesting thing that they've done. Um, it's just that that's the problem they are going to get themselves into. You have a Randy Orton problem where they don't want to boo him. He hits an RKO, he's going to get cheered. You push him with Matt Cardona, he's gonna get cheered. It's just
And even if he does a punt kick on Cody at WrestleMania, he's going to get cheered because
yeah,
we haven't seen the punt kick for
yeah,
when was the last time we saw the punt kick? In terms of that, I think the crowd will be super into this match, whoever they're cheering
yeah,
for, Cody or Randy. I think
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see if he wins number 15. Obviously, it is history still, isn't it? It'll be the third highest
yeah.
one, behind Flair and
Mhm.
Cena and that sort of stuff. Then potentially he has the chance to win more. We'll
Yeah.
see. Any? I mean, I don't want any spoilers if you know, but do you have any thoughts on who it might be? I don't think anyone
I
does know,
don't.
do they? No.
I don't
No.
even. I haven't really invested to know who it is. We'll see. We'll see how it is. Could it be Ric Flair? Could it be Ted DiBiase? Could it be
Yeah,
his
Ted
dad? Who
DiBiase.
knows?
Yeah,
To be honest, who
yeah.
knows? Um, Someone said Cody's story is like the Dune novels. It never ends. Um, Look, his story is like the story he had is has been completed. I think this is not just a WWE issue. This is maybe just an all wrestling issue where having a babyface chase the belt and then you do things afterwards, it tends to not be as effective as the chase. That's just how it's kind of been, and I think Cody's kind of in that position where he is the established guy. He's the established babyface that's going to do things as well. It's just about making his stories intriguing. The Drew McIntyre feud, as much as they were trying to do so many angles and so many things to keep it fresh,
It
it was a
wasn't
very,
interesting.
very
No.
it
Yeah.
was just a very long feud that never really progressed to make me super interested, even though you had Drew McIntyre win the belt. And we'll get to Drew later, but that's just like, yeah, overall.
Yeah, no. I don't disagree, but I think the history of wrestling tells you Cena got booed at how many WrestleManias, as champion, and he was still the number one merch seller, number one babyface there every week, blah 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 blah. But there's also that as well. If you think of all of the big names,
Hmm.
how many of them appear all the time? Obviously Roman doesn't, obviously Brock doesn't. CM Punk pretty much every week, but he does take his breaks as well. And I think there's always going to be that, the QB1 or whatever you want to call this person, the number one babyface who is, mainly the champion there most weeks, every week in Cody's case, in terms of that.
Yeah,
That's why I think the Randy heel turn has made it more interesting. It should bring out a more aggressive side in Cody, which I think tried to show last week on SmackDown.
yeah.
Um, I think, yeah, no, I think it's worthy of the main event. I think you mentioned Drew. Let's go to this so they haven't given him it is a stipulation, is it? Unsanctioned match,
Mhm.
which is hilarious, isn't it? Just call it no disqualification. You could just call it no held barred. What the actual no sanction? They still referee will still count a pinfall and take a submission. But how are you feeling about Drew and Jacob Fatu?
Um, Before I answer, I'm just gonna want to answer one of the comments. They said, "Would you have been invested in a Gunther and Cody Rhodes match for the WWE Championship?" Possibly, if they found a way to get there, because Gunther, you've invested so much things into him since the John Cena retire, since having him end John Cena's career, ending AJ Styles' career, that is deserving to kind of put him there. But that wasn't their plan. Their plan wasn't to put him in a championship match. So I wouldn't have minded that because Gunther had all the momentum in the world. He's already booed. No one's going to cheer for Gunther, and he does the heel work so naturally that that would actually be the perfect babyface heel feud for Cody. You're guaranteed boos with Cody, and you kind of you don't have the confliction of the fans because why would they boo Gunther right now after what he's done to John Cena and AJ Styles? So that could have actually been an intriguing feud if they actually kind of found a way to put that in. Back to Drew McIntyre. I like Jacob Fatu. I hope that as the years go on for him, they kind of get him involved in certain things. But for me, it kind of just feels like the same position Drew was in last year. He's feuding with someone, and I think that's kind of the problem with Drew. I like Drew. It's just that a lot of his feuds have weirdly not been as interesting as I thought they could be. Last year with Damian Priest, this year with Cody, and the
And
Jacob
now with
Fatu.
Jacob, I agree. I agree.
Yeah,
And I know it's going to be really harsh. And thankfully, he doesn't
yeah,
watch this channel, so he can't beat me up and claim on me. I think what it is, and I said this when Drew won in Berlin in SmackDown, didn't he? Like in January, whenever he won, and I had a feeling,
Yeah.
and I was just like, but what? But then who does he? Because you can't have Drew versus. Well, in my head, you couldn't have Drew versus Cody again, even though they did it. You couldn't have at WrestleMania. It's not big enough,
Yeah.
and you can't have that match when you've had it 5 times in the year anyway. But
Mhm.
and Drew's just not that elite level. He's amazing. Drew's great in the ring. He's been, especially the feud with Punk was thing.
Mhm.
Although I do think people underrated Punk in that feud and how much Punk elevated Drew in that feud. And Drew did his job
Mhm.
absolutely. He was brilliant. And obviously
Yeah.
they had 3 great matches together. Obviously an amazing Hell in a Cell. Great
Mhm.
feud over. They even feuded when Punk was injured, and they used
Yeah.
CM Punk really well. But I do
Mhm.
agree that the Damian Priest one. Cody wasn't that interesting, even though he won the belt. And it's Jacob Fatu one. And I don't know if it's Jacob Fatu a bit as well, because I don't know, there's a weird thing.
Yeah.
Jacob Fatu was like, he looked like he was on this ascension. And I think
Yeah.
we have to say this, not everyone can be the top, because we're talking about 12 matches here. There's so many, if you look at Trick and Oba and look at how they've gone, not everyone can take every spot. So there is Jacob Fatu is over, but he maybe hasn't gone as quickly as people maybe thought he would have gone. And it was really cool when he was with Solo, and he was about to turn on Solo. But it's kind of So yeah, I'm not massively intrigued by this match. Like I'm sure it'll be a decent match. I'm sure there'll be some ridiculous fall from something at some point, because that's
Mhm.
what them two do, don't they? And
Yeah.
they'll fight in the crowd, or they'll fight somewhere or something. But I'm not overly excited, I have to say, about this unsanctioned match. I'm not sure any stipulation could have made it that interesting to me. I mean, it's practically no rules, isn't it? But I'm not sure that. Yeah, for me, that wasn't. Yeah, not great. Go to
Yeah.
the other women's world championship, and again, we might have different views on this. And I'm a massive Liv Morgan fan, and I have to say, I think they've slow built this really. Obviously, Liv won the Rumble, which I think she's one of the favourites to win. Lives
Mhm.
incredibly. I mean, I know it's her home city or whatever in New York, but you can
Yeah.
tell, when someone comes out and it's a reaction, and not she wasn't necessarily getting cheered, but she's just over. And I think she's done all this feud has done wonders for Stephanie Vacquer, because I said this, didn't I, to you a while ago, and I don't think you agreed with me, but I said Raquel was making Stephanie interesting. Stephanie's obviously amazing in the ring. She's fantastic, fantastic in the ring, but invested in a character to be the world champion going into WrestleMania, there needs to be a bit more
Mhm.
than I'm just the champion and you're the challenger, and and here you go. And there needs to be some.
Mhm.
And I think they've done this. I think they've done this really well. I think Liv is if you think of what Liv used to be like on the mic to what she's like on the mic now, it shows
Yeah.
the improvement. I think they're going to have a really good match. I think they're going to have a really really good match. Well, what do you think on it?
Yeah. I think. Yeah. In terms of Liv, she has this is Liv's character. This is how she is, and I think they've done. I think the feud for me, it's been. I think for me, it's been fine. I think it has been effective. Going back to Stephanie Vacquer and her world title problems, I think it's just you did say Raquel Rodriguez would make the feud interesting. I think it's just that you have a women's division, a rich women's division, but you've kind of invested in certain times. A lot of the women that Stephanie Vecchio could have faced along that time were chasing the tag belts. So you only had Nikki
Yeah.
Bella, Raquel Rodriguez, and a returning Liv Morgan, a Roxanne Perez that you kind of did tag team stuff with. So what you couldn't give her enough time to feud with, let's say, the others like a Bailey, like a Lau Valkyria, or maybe an Io Sky again, which could have been intriguing matches heading into Mania. I think the feud has been fine. I think Liv has done a decent job. Stephanie's done a decent job in terms of them having more brawls. The background of like whose background is better. My one through the Performance Center, Stephanie's through the Indies. It was cool to see Roxanne Perez come back as well. Um, Someone saying I smell a double turn for Liv Morgan, Raquel, and Roxanne to betray her. They've kind of not hint. They've hinted at potentially Raquel
Yeah,
because you had that thing of the Rumble, but she apologized. That could be a
yeah,
thing. And then of course Finn Balor's not part of the Judgment Day, and
yeah.
Finn pretty much brought Roxanne into the Judgment Day. So you got things like that to potentially
I
do
don't
as
I
well.
don't think that's wildly out of the realms of possibility. I think that possibly could happen. I still think Liv should win the title, and not just because I like Liv and I'm a fan of Liv. I think Liv should win the title at WrestleMania.
I think she's
But
winning. I think
Yeah,
Liv's winning.
but if there is a turn, obviously that would make sense. I mean, Liv will go over as a babyface, like she can do, like that will work.
Yeah,
People want to cheer her and Dom anyway. Like they, that there's that sort of thing. I don't know if you guys saw, but I managed to. But I waited half an hour in the merch queue before the show started, and they've got like a
yeah.
GTA, like a Grand Theft Auto T-shirt of Liv and Dom, which was really cool.
Oh, that's good.
It's like a Ripple Junction one, and whatever she was wearing it on, like how she ties the T-shirt to a thing, but.
Yeah,
People, and again, the amount of people buying now, they're supposed to be heels, aren't they? Dom and Liv. And I know it's a different world now, but they are,
yeah,
whether they turned babyface together or what, because then how does that work? How do you turn Liv babyface and Dom's her boyfriend and he's heel,
yeah.
and, you know,
Yeah. I don't see Dom turning face anytime soon,
yeah,
especially with the
I
Finn
don't.
feud.
I think it'd be
So,
terrible to turn Dom face like now. He's just
yeah,
too. He's too good. Yeah, and in terms of that, which
yeah,
leads us to Dom and Finn. I'm really looking for. I mean, I'm a massive Dominic Mysterio fan. I was there last year in Vegas,
mhm,
and everyone was cheering Dominic to win, and he obviously
yeah,
pinned Finn Balor, didn't he, in the Fatal Four Way to win the
yeah,
title, and it's gone full circle now. I really liked how they
mhm,
did the babyface turn and the turn. He did. I know it was a
yeah,
throwback to NXT and his what do they call it? Like a then it's like you remember why did they always call it a Pele kick instead of a Pele kick? The thing that they call it
yeah,
was it's like it's a thing, but
yeah,
obviously
yeah,
Americans say Pele instead of Pele. He's
yeah,
I really liked how they did that. I think they've done it well. And I think we're gonna. I think everyone's speculating, and I'm gonna be so disappointed if we don't get the demon, which would be just awesome. Like getting, obviously, if they do, they need to do it on the later because obviously it's light until like the last couple. Although it's
mhm.
light probably till quite late because it's so early, till quite early. So, but the Demon versus Dominic, I think this will be a great match. Good heat and everything like that. I'm looking forward to this match.
Yeah, I think if we get the demon gimmick, if Finn alludes to it, let's say, the last Monday Night Raw of WrestleMania, then I think we could get that. Happy with the face turn, happy with the portrayal. I think this where it gets fit on the card is going to be interesting. I think if it's somewhere in the in between, I don't think it'll be if we get the Demon Finn Balor, then I don't think it'll be as long as a match because you don't want to have that gimmick for too long. It will just be a match where he will look super strong. I think Finn will win because
Yeah,
Finn need wins,
yeah.
but Finn can take the win here.
Finn
Dominic can probably
Balor.
get the
Yeah,
win back. Yeah,
yeah.
and Dominic can get the win back on like a backlash show or whatnot. But yeah, I think the match will be good.
Yeah, I don't. If he brings back the demon, I know he's lost now against Roman Reigns, but he didn't lose for ages, did he? As the demon, and I think if you're going to give Finn a push, then in fairness, I know people said, oh, he's never, and he had the title for one day, didn't he? 10 years ago or whenever it was, but that was unfortunate, obviously, and we'll never know how that was worked. But again, there's only two titles for a long time. There was only one title for 2.5 years, 3 years. There's not everyone can be champion all the time or whatever. But I don't think like an intercontinental title or US title or something like that is out of the realms of possibility in terms of Finn. And he's popular and he's good. He's yeah, no, and I think that'll be really good. Let me look at my list. What have we done, Jay? We've done the first four. Eh, speaking of Intercontinental Championship, I didn't know. I didn't even think in my head what. Obviously, Penta was going to defend, and obviously he wasn't going to lose to Kofi, even though I was the only person in the arena supporting Kofi. I mean, people forget I was at WrestleMania 35 in New York when it was Kofi Mania. People forget. I remember
Yeah,
shouting. I was trying to give Talia a history lesson in front, and everyone. There's so many. And just a segue here, but there was so many women and kids, which is obviously fantastic to see at a wrestling show. I wouldn't say maybe 40. I'd say between 30 and 35% of the audience were female, which you don't see at a wrestling show. I mean, it's crept up over the last 5 years, but Madison Square
yeah,
Garden Raw was probably that. So obviously without being too sexist, I mean, there are obviously a lot of new fans and a lot of kids who are in the audience, a lot of it. So I was just trying to give Tyler a history lesson. I was like, like 60,000, 70,000 people in New York were going insane for this man when he beat Daniel Bryan at at WrestleMania 35. And no one even cares and no one wants him to win and everyone loves. By the way, Penta, again, I would say probably from what I can see, third or fourth biggest t-shirt mover, like is in people with the masks and the t-shirt and the kids love him. Yeah, I was surprised, but this could be great. I'm not sure why Rusev's in it, and that's not me picking on Rusev. It's just if you look at the style of wrestlers of the other of JD
mhm,
McDonough, of Javon, obviously, of Penta and Dragon Lee, and then you look at Rusev. I mean, I don't know if Rusev can even climb a ladder, but we'll see. But I'm looking forward. I think this ladder matches at WrestleMania are generally great. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think the wrestlers you have there, Rusev, I don't know, you might have spoken to Triple H to sneak in there, because even me myself, I don't know how you got I don't know how you got into that match, but fairs, you probably got into your contract or something, but fairs.
I reckon
I
it
think
might be. Maybe he said he'll have a match at WrestleMania, and I'm like, this is how we put him in. Because how is he? I was joking. I sent you a picture. I sent our wrestling WhatsApp group a picture of the dark match as I was walking into Raw, and it was
yeah,
him versus Otis, and like he's on a dark match in Raw. And then when Adam Pearce announced although they just put the graphic up, didn't they, of who the five people. I think everyone was like, I completely get the other three, but why? And also five is a weird number, isn't it? Isn't it? Don't they normally have six for a ladder match? But someone
yeah,
said Hobbs, Powerhouse Hobbs. It's not Hobbs anymore, is it? But should be added to the
yeah,
ladder match. I'm not sure he will be, but
yeah. I don't know what they're
um,
gonna do with them. Maybe they got some things planned for him after WrestleMania.
yeah. But I'm not sure if he's. I'm not sure. Do you think they'll add a sixth person, or because
I
there's
think that's
obviously a
I think
lot.
I think it's the
Yeah.
five, because I think they were doing matches on main event for qualifiers, and those are the people
Oh,
that won the
really?
qualifier. Yeah. So maybe the Rusev Otis match you saw was a qualifier, but
Must have
obviously,
been a qualifier. Obviously, we don't have commentary in the arena, so you don't know. And
yeah,
to be honest, I wasn't really paying attention. What I would say,
yeah,
random observation is Otis might have the muscliest calves I've ever seen ever in my life. They're ridiculous. They're absolutely ridiculous. But that is an unnecessary segue. I know. Um, so that's the Intercontinental title. Let me just put the line, but women's Intercontinental title. And I know there's been a bit of criticism about this one because we've already had AJ and Becky. But I'm not saying this is the one I'm looking forward to the most, but I don't think I'm looking forward to the least either. And I think it's fine. I think it would do. I think these are two quite big superstars, and
hmm
Becky will get her win eventually because she's lost three times to AJ Lee.
yeah. I listen. Becky Lynch is arguably one of one of the greatest women's wrestlers in WWE right
It's not
now.
just you saying it either.
And,
So
and, and I know this catchphrase, oh, Sports Illustrated, but then when Sports Illustrated says some things about AEW, people scream. It's funny how it goes like that. But focus on this feud. AJ Lee, with AJ Lee, um, she's been doing decent, and I thought that one promo they did, I think it was a week before on Monday Night Raw, was their best.
yeah,
I haven't
yeah,
really been super excited about this feud. It almost feels like they lack chemistry between these two. I
yeah.
think the approach Becky was going before with the whole over the top, oh my god, I'm scared of AJ Lee,
She's
doesn't
reined it in,
work here.
hasn't she? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
definitely. And the match they had at Chamber was good. It was fine, and I think it will be the same approach here. They've probably built enough chemistry to have a better match than what they did at Chamber. But yeah, I'm cool with it. Not super excited, but I'm cool with AJ Lee, Becky
Yeah,
Lynch.
I think similar. I think similar. Again, it could be like you said, maybe the chemistry's not completely there. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of Becky Lynch fans in the crowd at Mania. I just think I feel like she's that sort of wrestler now, coming to that stage in her career, and people appreciate the work she's done to elevate the Intercontinental. Let's be honest, she has done an amazing job to make that Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
And they needed it, don't they? Because there were brand new titles, weren't there? The US title and for women, probably
Mhm.
overdue, but she's made that seem like more of a belt. Um,
Yeah.
the what have we got? We've got the women's, which I think everyone could see this like from about 3 months ago that it was going to be a fatal four way for the women's tag team titles. Like you've
Yeah.
they've unlike the men's tag team titles, they've kept a real good momentum across this with using some big stars in all of this. I think the Bellas are in there. I mean, if the Bellas win, I might just leave. But I mean, no, I don't mind the Bellas. They're fine. But I mean,
You
come on now.
no, you're going
At
for
least Bailey
you're going
gets
for a
on the
toilet
card
break,
this
man.
year, which was
You're going for a
ridiculous
toilet
last
break.
year.
If the Bellas win, you're going for a toilet break. You're like you're going for an extended toilet break, and you're never coming back until you hear Roman Reigns CM Punk promo. That's when you'll come back.
Exactly. I know, but no, but I think this will be decent. It gets eight
Yeah,
of them on the card.
yeah,
I think Naya's done a good job of helping Lash. Like there's a good heat
yeah.
there, and in terms of because in terms of that Bailey deserves a spot. I mean, it's ridiculous that she missed WrestleMania
Yeah,
last year. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and Lyra's gone obviously off a bit, and she hasn't. she had a good feud. She's there, but it gets a obviously Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, big stars, and then the Bellas. I think it'll be. I don't know. I don't know who goes home with the belts. To be honest, I can't imagine they're going to retain, but you don't know. And yeah,
I mean, I could see them retaining, or I could see my worst nightmare of the Bella Twins having tag team championships. That will make a certain man that we know in our certain group chat very, very happy. But I don't want
yeah,
that to ever happen. So I'm
yeah,
I'm, I'm hoping, I'm praying
yeah.
that doesn't happen. But I'm probably going
Yeah,
with
well,
Nia
because they've
Jax and
never
the
won
Street
it, have
Tag
they?
Team.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But, yeah, I mean, you could get a Charlotte turn on Alexa as well in it, couldn't you, or something like that? That could happen
yeah,
maybe.
yeah,
There's no need for it to happen, I don't think, but
yeah,
that could happen. But I think this is okay. Again, much like the other one, I'm not. It's not the most exciting match on the card, but it gets them on the card. And like I said,
yeah,
I've always been a huge Bailey fan since she wrestled Sasha Banks at NXT Takeover. I think she deserves. Like it was ridiculous what happened last year. Like I get why, and I
yeah,
get like you want to bring Becky back,
mhm,
but they could have done it in a different way. And to take
yeah,
her off the card when she was winning the WWE title the year before at WrestleMania, but it is what it
mhm,
is. But I think that's good. We've
mhm,
got what have we got left? We've got two left that have been announced. Let's talk about Seth and Gunther last. But Trick Williams and Sami Zayn, and I know there's been some chat because Sammy took the belt off. Well, we had this conversation the last time we spoke, and I wanted it to be
mhm,
Carmella versus Trick, and I said just
mhm,
because it's obvious, it doesn't have to be,
mhm,
doesn't have to be the wrong decision. But I mean,
mhm,
Sami Zayn is basically going in as a heel in Vegas. I can, no, going in as a. I know he's not, but he's a heel. Trick Williams is.
mhm,
There's going to be 70,000 or 50,000 or whatever the hell it is that they end up getting for the attendance doing whoop that trick. This man is ridiculously over. He's done. He's
mhm,
incredible on the mic. And he's really good in the ring as well. Which I've seen
mhm.
more and more of him now, and now he's on the main roster. Trick is obviously going to win. Come on now. But I'm looking for. So while I would have liked Carmelo, I get why Sami Zayn is there because do you want Carmelo Hayes booed when he's supposed to be a babyface? Because they're going to cheer for Trick. I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? There's a chance of a triple threat or
I'll wait until SmackDown. I will wait until SmackDown for them to sort that out. All I'm gonna say, I feel bad for you, Carmelo. You were literally, arguably, one of the best things about SmackDown, and they took your chain, your US title chain, with less than 3 weeks of WrestleMania and gave it to Sami Zayn. When Sami's the thing with Sami Zayn, Trick Williams is that you don't need the US title, and maybe you want to put the belt on Trick, but they have
on
shown
Trick?
no
Yeah,
desire. They've shown no desire to chase the belt. Their desire was to go for the WWE title. All the promos you've done with Sammy were for him to go after the WWE Championship. So that's the confusing thing that I'm kind of like, why did we go to this route? Um,
unless he's
if
turning
Carmelo doesn't get,
heel.
yeah,
Yeah,
maybe Sammy Hill, and they probably went with like, let's do this because I think that's what they're leading to. Sammy turning heel because of and how conflicted he's been with like Cody getting multiple opportunities. Like
yeah,
you lost the Rumble, and this is not me shooting at Cody, but this is Sammy's you
yeah,
lost your belt, you lost the Rumble, you lost the
yeah,
Chamber, but then you automatically get a title shot immediately after the PLE. So those kind of frustrations will probably show. I see Trick probably holding on to this belt, getting the belt now, and probably pushing on with that. Um, yeah, I agree. I think Trick has transitioned into the main roster perfectly well. The crowd love him. Good in the ring, and yeah, I just hope the momentum kind of goes on. I think when you talked earlier about like where Jacob Fatu is in his career and you compared like Trick, it just depends on the momentum you take yourself. What Jacob Fatu is able to do is that people saw him as this crazy madman who could actually speak on the mic. Like Jacob's good on
yeah,
the mic, but it's just the way you take that momentum. Where Trick's
yeah,
gonna go, I cannot be surprised if they have bigger potential for him down the line.
yeah,
It would not surprise me if he becomes someone that WWE think maybe we put the Money in the Bank belt on him, maybe put the briefcase on him. It just really depends on the trajectory of where you take your momentum. Because hopefully Jacob Fatu doesn't go to the Damian Priest position where
yeah.
you're now in a makeshift team with our truth when last year you were in a mid card slash upper feud.
The year
But
before he wins the title at WrestleMania. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No,
So
no, I
I
agree. But
so
again, I think you're right. It's a really good point. But I think again, there's only so much space, isn't it? Not everyone can be the top guy or top girl, or and there has to be mid carders and there has to be
yeah,
jobbers and there has to be there has to be a certain
yeah.
amount. And I think you're right. That's a really good comparison. But I agree with you. I think Trick's on. Like he's like for me, Jacob was always good on the mic. He was good. He was good in the background when he just loved solo all that time. He was really really good. But with Trick, I've said this, and I know everyone compares him to Booker, and I know he trained by Booker and all that. And I know Booker loves him, but for me, it genuinely reminds me of Dwayne. Like I'm talking about
Yeah, I've seen
Nation
him.
of
Yeah,
Domination Rock when he was
yeah,
like
yeah.
thing, and the way he just disrespected everyone. I told that in terms of individual funny promo, his chat about Sami Zayn and his sketches and his bad breath and all of that. ten
Mm.
pounds of bounce to ass. That was the funniest promo of the year, I think. And he's from that, and so he's right. He's facing Sami Zayn anyway. But I agree. You could have had it without a title. I do. I love Carmelo, so I will happily have him added in as a triple threat. I think it'll make it
Yeah,
really. There's no plus. You don't never want too many triple threats, and there's no triple threats on the card. So I wouldn't be upset
yeah,
with a triple threat match
yeah,
in terms of that, because obviously we had two last year, didn't we? We had a fatal four way and two triple threats last year. So
yeah,
although
yeah,
the two
yeah.
triple threats were the best matches, so
Yeah, just
and
give it. Yeah, give it to Carmelo. Don't have it be a thing where you're gonna have it on WWE Unreal season 4. Like we couldn't give Carmelo an opportunity, so we're gonna sell his disappointment. I could definitely see this company doing this. So
like
please don't
Lyra
do
when
that.
she's at that match, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think, I think, I think it's really. You're right. I think Carmelo, I've liked Carmelo Hayes since he came on. He never truly got over as a heel. And then I was like, when they turned him babyface, I was like, are people going to cheer for him? I'll cheer for him, but are people going to cheer for him? Fair play to him. He's obviously really good in the ring. He's good on the mic. His
Yeah,
Mellow Miss gimmick worked for a while when he was champion, at least, in terms of that. And I
yeah,
would be very happy if he was added to a triple threat. And obviously, there's history as well between Mello
yeah.
and
True.
Trick. So you've got that. And last but not least, um, and again, we may have different views. And I don't know, we haven't actually spoken about your views on this because obviously it's only just been
Hmm.
announced as of
Hmm.
Monday. And I get it. And we know this. I mean, you don't have to know too much inside information to know it was going to be Gunter versus Ray. Ray's injured. It was going to be
Hmm.
Seth versus Braun. It doesn't look like Braun's cleared or might not be cleared or whatever. Um, I I'll be honest, I don't care. These are two of the best wrestlers in the world, and they're going to get. And as far as I know, they've never wrestled, or they've never wrestled in WWE anyway. They haven't never wrestled, have they? And we
No.
get that at WrestleMania. I don't think they have crossed paths, have they?
No.
So yes, while it's nice to have some storyline, actually, when they're that good, and my thoughts on both of them. They're two of the elite, especially in terms of in ring. Um,
Mhm.
I think it'll be Thomas put it'll be a wrestling classic, 20 minutes. I think it'll be I think there's a really good. I mean, what I would say about Kurt Angle and HBK, they had an amazing build and they had a storyline, and they've got no build, and it's been 2 weeks. But I don't know what you think, Gordon. But I for me, I'm going to WrestleMania. I get to see Seth versus Gunter. Like I'm happy.
Wow, Billy, you got that right. That's all I gotta say. Billy got that right, especially with him predicting that. Because I think Billy in our group chat, he said that they could pivot to Gunther Seth, and when I saw that, I was like, "How did you?" But hey, good on him. Yeah, look. Look. This just came out a place where two wrestlers had feuds where they were going on. First, I want to talk about where Gunther's pathway was. Look, no disrespect to Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio is a legend, OG of the game, arguably one of the best luchadors to ever transition into WWE. But I do think if we had Gunther Rey Mysterio, it is a little bit of a downgrade to compare to what he had Cena and AJ Styles retire. So this has become a little bit of a blessing of disguise. As for Seth, they were looking at Braun Breaker. Don't know if Braun Breaker is actually fit. We don't know. I don't know. Dave Meltzer saying stuff like, "Oh, actually he is, but they're waiting for like longer." What are you talking about? They feuded since October. What are you on
And it's
about?
WrestleMania. I know, I
This
know,
feud
I
has
know.
started. This feud has started since October. What are you talking
Yeah,
about? So I don't mind Seth Gunther. I think it's going to be an exceptional match. I think in terms of match of the nights, this is the one. To be honest,
yeah,
it's two wrestlers who are just going to hopefully give a clinic. Um, in terms of why Gunther was going after Seth, who knows? We'll probably get there when we'll get there. But I think this will be an exceptional exhibition match that we got out of nowhere. So it's kind of a weird blessing in disguise that both of these guys are going to feud right now, especially with their opponents not being there. So
yeah.
yeah, looking
I
forward. Looking
mean,
forward to it.
sometimes it can be like, when we've seen obviously what the writers' room looks like on Unreal, and I'm not sure that that's the entire story. I'm sure there's more to it than that. But you have the card, and you've got what we've talked about, 11 matches, and then you've probably got another two. They'll have 14, normally seven on each night, and then and you're like, okay, well, this person has got this person and this person, and oh my god, they're two of the best wrestlers in the world. Why don't we just put them together and try and
Mhm.
make sense, and that, and I'm sure there'll be some chat next week on Raw with Raymond and that, and then obviously the
Mhm.
big speculation is that SummerSlam's in Minneapolis. It's going to be Brock's last match. Gunter is a big option, obviously, to retire. That's the main event of SummerSlam. There, Brock's
Yeah.
last match in Minneapolis, because they'll cheer for Brock in Minneapolis because he's from there. And Gunter's obviously mega
Yeah.
heel. Um, Obviously, then you could work the Heyman stuff into that somehow with
Yeah.
whatever deal he's made with Seth. So that makes that a little bit more interesting, I guess, as well. But I don't think it really matters what Heyman
Mhm.
says and does this week. Or what, I mean, Gunter will have to obviously explain why he attacked Seth, because you need some kind of explanation. But who cares? They're both cleared and fit for WrestleMania. And
Mhm.
I'm a big Seth fan. Like, I if I'm going to a show, I want to see Seth wrestle, like a WrestleMania. I want to see Seth wrestle. So, like you said, it's weird how that worked out, but in a way, you're right, because obviously he was going to beat Rey Mysterio if Rey Mysterio had the match, and that's kind of a given in terms of, especially with
Mhm.
what happened with AJ and Cena.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so I don't disagree. So in the next last 5 minutes, Odin, I mean, there's probably a couple of obvious ones. Well, I say there's a couple of obvious ones, but
Um,
there's 12. I reckon there's probably, they normally do seven a night, so there's probably two matches, maybe three matches left, or and
they,
maybe like yeah.
yeah, I think, well, what they're gonna add, the Usos and the LA. I'm completely out of form
Oh, of
night.
course,
Uh,
yeah.
with IShow Speed and Theory and Logan Paul. Whatever Io Sky is gonna do with Asuka and Kyrie Sane. Is Julia gonna get on this WrestleMania card? She must be praying. It's a holy week, so you might as well pray for that. And what else? What else is on this card? Yeah, there's a
Unless
few
it's
things you could add.
there was
So
there,
say
the
again.
other truth and priest, but
Yeah.
oh come on, we're not. No one's invested in. I mean, I like that. I think they've done the best they can with what they can. But I don't want to. There's no need for that. But then
No.
at the moment there's not a lot of toilet breaks on this card. So everyone
Yeah,
who's going to WrestleMania needs it.
Roger, being too nice to these people for what they've done to this tag team division. I'm sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
I agree.
You
I
have.
agree. I couldn't even tell you, even though the Usos were the champion. I obviously I knew it this week because it was a tag team title match. But you look at how the women's one has been booked, and my argument will be just go back to one tag team titles, and make it feel special, a bit more special if you can. It's the only way of salvaging. And you know my thoughts. I'm not the biggest tag team wrestling fan in the world, but it looks like the other one won't get defended if it's a six-man tag, which is obvious. Just to pick up your point, I said in I can't, maybe summer last year, I wanted Io versus Asuka at WrestleMania because they deserve it. Because
Probably
they're
won't
two of
be.
the best, not just Japanese women wrestlers, just two of the best women wrestlers of all time. And I genuinely mean that. I'm a massive Asuka fan. Io's had an amazing couple of years. If you make it a triple threat with Kyrie, or Kyrie does the turn at WrestleMania, I would. There is no more Andre Giant Battle Royal, is it? They've cancelled it, haven't they?
Yeah, they moved. No, they moved it to SmackDown. They'll probably move it on SmackDown. They usually do it on SmackDown before WrestleMania.
I don't think they did it last year, did they? Or maybe they did. I don't know.
They did, but I
I think they
forgot
took,
who
I think
won.
they got rid of it, didn't they? Yeah, or maybe they have. Um, yeah, but they've yeah. There's that. I mean, it's Tiffany and Julia. Obviously, they had a match, didn't they? And I think that's the obviously Tiffany Stratton. You would think would be on the card, but at the same time, that feels like an absolute filler, doesn't it? Like, what are you? What is it, like a 7 minute US women's title match?
Uh,
Is there any
That
other
would be a
women that you
shame,
could?
though. It would be a
Sorry.
shame because like we were talking about how Becky Lynch has made the IC title very relevant. I just
Yeah.
don't think that it's been given the same treatment um in the US title, especially. I like Julia, but I feel like there's more that you can do with Julia with that belt, or just more with her as a character. I think they might give it to Tiffany Stratton Julia as a feud. I think that's definitely going to happen. And actually, there was an Andre the Giant. It was last year, the SmackDown before WrestleMania, and Carmelo Hayes won it.
Oh yeah, he did, didn't he? Because then he made it into a chain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made it into, yeah, he called it Dre, yeah, instead of Andre. Yeah, I remember. But it wasn't that memorable. But yeah, they were. But then there's quite a few people not on the card, isn't there? Maybe Danhausen will actually get to wrestle in
He's
the
gonna.
train, right?
He'll probably.
Yeah.
I think it will appear. He'll appear.
Yeah.
Of course, I forgot.
He'll have to appear. He's again. He was in the commercial break or ad break, whatever they call it in America, and during the thing. Again, his T-shirt was selling. He was there. People love
Yeah.
him, and he's obviously from the underwhelming debut to how he's just gets again. It's what we talk about quite a lot, isn't it? Someone gets a few minutes on TV and they make the most of it, and he absolutely has make the most of it in terms of in terms of in terms of that. So it's potentially talking about maybe what Oscar versus EO or a triple threat with Kyrie. You've got
Which
the
was
six-man
brilliant.
tag. I think that will definitely be made. That's obvious, isn't it? Isha Speed he's been training as well, hasn't he? So there's been clips of him training with Randy
Yeah.
Orton over the last few months. And then you've probably got yeah, Julia and Tiffany. So there's probably maybe then 15 matches, 7 one night. The other one, but I know you're not. I don't. I obviously I'm a big Logan Paul fan, so I'm happy with this. Like I'm happy that they won the title. I got the dirtiest of looks when I was cheering when they won the titles
Of
on
course they would. They think you'll think
yeah,
you're a madman. Of course,
yeah.
of course they're
They
like this
genuinely
guy's
did. They
cheering for
genuinely
Logan
did.
Paul.
Everyone was just like, "What?"
Yeah, they'll
And
think you're a madman. Of course, I'm not surprised. Yeah, judge that man. Yeah, he buys all his content and everything. Yeah, judge him.
humble. But yeah. So I don't. But again, I don't know. People will say, "Oh, speed or whatever." But if you look at the post and how many million or how
Yeah,
many 100,000 likes it gets, you get.
I, I,
Well, to be
I
honest, I
get it.
don't. I don't. I'm not. I'm too old to obviously watch like streamers and gamers or whatever he is or
Yeah,
YouTuber. Yeah, I think he's always been quite good when he's come to WWE. He's known his role.
yeah,
Obviously, he took an amazing spear. Not last year, the year before at the Royal Rumble,
yeah,
and I think he'll have a minimal involvement in a match with 5 good wrestlers, won't he? Like that's it. In terms of, at least LA Knight gets on the card as well because I know people get really upset about LA Knight. It's such a touchy subject, but if he keeps falling off the top rope, then there might be a reason why he's not world
yeah.
champion.
He's been off. He's been off way off. I think I saw. Was there? Did he slip twice on
Yeah, yeah,
Raw?
yeah. He slipped, absolutely slipped twice. Yeah, yeah, he did. I was there. He was slipped
What's
twice. Yeah,
going on? That
yeah.
WWE Unreal, that Unreal. Listen, that hasn't helped
Killed
him. I'm
him.
sorry, killed him.
No, he
And I
killed
get
him.
why
He
they need.
killed him.
And I get why they need to put ISO speed. I'm not. I don't really care for it, but I get it. It's views, viewership, this, that. I get it. So I'm not too
Yeah,
mad about that. So it is what it is. So yeah,
yeah. Because the first hour of WrestleMania each night is on proper ESPN. So it's like on main TV, isn't it? Which
yeah,
for obviously for American TV, that's a big deal. That it's on one of the main channels, and like anyone can be
yeah,
flicking cross watching. So I wouldn't be surprised. It'll be interesting what because obviously they've opened the last few WrestleManias with title matches, haven't they? And they'll do
yeah.
that. Um, I wonder if they open one of the nights with Ober and Brock then, if it's not going to main event. That'll be interesting. It'll be interesting card
Or
placement. Yeah.
or we haven't really talked about this because they literally just announced it.
Of
The
Cena.
host of the host of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
They just start
Yeah.
that with, yeah. I retired, but I'm back. I'm back.
Yeah. Yeah.
They might do that.
Um, yeah. But I think, that's just the star power, isn't it? And I know people say, oh,
Yeah,
they've brought they brought him back just to sell tickets, but that's
yeah.
their job
That,
to
that,
sell tickets. So,
I
that's
mean,
not
I'm
a
not.
that's yeah. So
That's
and let's be honest, I'm gonna pop massively for John Cena when I see him at WrestleMania. I thought I'd never see John Cena again, so I'll be excited to see John Cena. Do you think John Cena will get involved though? That's the question.
I think he'll get involved in an angle. I don't know what it will be with, but I don't know. I don't know. It's just the level of what it could be. It be a jokey thing with like Danhausen, or it could it be something involving like a bigger feud? Who knows? He might just come out, say "Welcome to WrestleMania." He might come out again and see like we sold this amount of tickets allegedly, and that's probably just all he needs to probably do just in terms for his return.
I don't. He did. I mean, we'll see. And I don't know. I said this at the time when he retired. I do think he's not going to wrestle ever again. Like I'm convinced he's not going to
Yeah,
wrestle
I
again.
don't
So
think so too.
so then how do you put him in a but obviously he can give someone an AA, can't he? Like, he can,
Yeah, you can
and
do that. Yeah.
obviously there's not many better people on the mic in the history of professional wrestling than John Cena, so he can just have a chat. Obviously, it's never going to lead to anything, though, is it? So
Yeah,
there's that.
yeah. You also got to think. Let's not make this WrestleMania long. I know it's 2 nights, but WWE,
Yeah.
you've got WWE. I know you've got ads. I know you've got adverts and stuff. So let's not make this a long mania with promos and things.
But I think they've done
Cena,
it fine. And now they've got the 2 nights. It works fine, doesn't it? I mean, no, like I said, I went to the last ever one night WrestleMania, and it was way, way, way too long. Like I told you, I've said this, and I
yeah.
said this in my videos about the top main event or the ranking, all the 46 main events. Becky versus Charlotte versus Ronda is a better match than people give credit for, but the crowd was dead because everyone was. I told you, I think I was there for with the pre-show, and that's when they had the battle royal on the pre. I think they had a women's battle
Yeah.
royal and a men's battle royal and some garbage. And I think we were there, and it was my second WrestleMania. So you go there naively, you go there really early, and whatever that was. I
Yeah.
think we were in that stadium for like 6 hours or something like that, six and a bit
Yeah.
hours. I was like, that was
I
way
remember.
too long.
I remember. Yeah, I remember watching it live with me, Ola. We were conked after 4 a.m.
Yeah,
We were
yeah,
all conked after 4 a.m.
yeah. When it's
But
when it's when it's when the main event is starting at 4 a.m. or 4:30 or whatever time bloody Becky and then they did their big
it was.
entrances. You remember?
It,
Yeah.
They started at maybe 5 or 5 a.m. The pay per
Yeah,
view didn't end
yeah,
until
because
like
and
before
then the
6.
entrances was like they did the special. Charlotte came on a helicopter. Ronda had
Yeah.
her band playing,
Mhm.
Joan Jett and the whatever they're called, and they had the whole thing. And obviously Becky was the superstar at the time, wasn't she? But it's a
Yeah.
shame because obviously it's historic. First women's main event. Becky had that amazing run. Ronda, for all of her, I know she's been in the news recently, and no one likes her anymore, whatever. But she. You don't get that main event without a name like Ronda Rousey. Like she helped from a
Yeah.
name point of view, didn't she? In terms of that. And then then we've had that since. But I
Mhm.
think yeah, no, I agree. There's no need to make it like I have to say the last I've been to the last three, 34. And they've been the 38 was over 2 nights, good pace. 39 over 2 nights, good pace. 40 obviously perfect WrestleMania. And last year wasn't too long. It was done. We were done by, but also weirdly in Vegas time, obviously, which what I'll be in, and a few others. It starts at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Like what? It's just
Yeah.
an
So
it's just
it's
an
very
odd
true.
it's just an
Yeah.
odd time. I mean, it's great for you watching in the UK because it'll be on at 11 o'clock. You'll be done by 3 a.m. both nights, and you can watch it. I assume you're watching it live.
Probably maybe night two live, night one maybe a few hours, and I'll watch the rest in the morning. I think someone said Roman and CM Punk will get 30 minutes just for their entrances.
Yeah,
Look,
I'm not complaining. I have to say that's part of the experience, especially when it's Roman Reigns and CM Punk. Um, I am Riyadh season. It will be Riyadh season. Everyone. Oh my God, we have to. This is what we have to
yeah.
do. So WrestleMania card worth the high price of admission to Vegas. Well, seeing as I'm going and I went last year, I think this is a better card than last year. Um, actually, I think it's a better card. Maybe on paper, but again, on paper versus what happens. I think, yeah, I do. I actually do. I genuinely think it's a better card than last year. Um, Obviously, I know everyone's disappointed with the second night's main event last year. We got an amazing two triple threat matches last year. But I think it's a potential, yeah, better card than last year. Um, Cena's hosting it. And last question, Orion, is Dwayne going to appear?
Nah, this guy is thinking about. He's not thinking about Academy Awards because he thought he was gonna get the best actor nom. Forget that. Let me go back. Let me go back to Disney and put on this ridiculous wig for the Moana live action so I can make $1 billion. I haven't even seen the Moana first animated film. I just saw
Oh
that
no,
trailer. I was like,
Moana. I'm
this
not gonna lie
look.
to you. Moana is actually the first one. Not the second one.
Uh,
The first one is a
yeah,
really really good. Obviously, Tony was young when it came
yeah,
out, so I watched it about 100 times. Moana's really good, and his voiceover is fine, and the song's great. But why? But the weirdest part is not just his wig. Is that how old? Obviously, he's old. He's 50 something, isn't he now?
yeah.
In the cartoon, in the original, Maui and the girl forget her name now, is they're roughly the same age, or maybe like a couple of years older than her. But now you've got a young girl who's like 14, and you've got this man who is 50, obviously, because he is 50, and they haven't done anything to his face. And I just don't. It is just pure money, isn't it? It's just. I mean, any of the
Yes.
live action Disney have all been trash, haven't they? They're not
Yeah.
they're not great. And I think
Yeah, but they'll make $1 billion anyway. So that's the movie
because
will be
he ain't
bad.
winning any
But
Oscars, is he? So
no,
so yeah,
yeah.
I don't see. Do you see? So no appearance. You don't think any appearance?
Nah, this guy is doing his own thing. He wants to ruin a beloved movie and with his wig and whatever that movie's gonna be and make $1 billion. That's all for him. Let him do that. Oh yeah, we forgot about. Oh yeah, Jelly. This guy, Jelly Roll. You're a good guy. You seem like a nice guy. You seem like a very nice guy, Jelly Roll. But you were on SmackDown way too much. Number
I mean, the
two,
last
that
episode, he had like about 8 segments, didn't he, Jelly Roll? They
yeah,
uh,
that as well. Number two, that World Cup song is meaty. It's just
I
meaty. It's just
know.
mid. Is that
He's
song
got
is
better
mid.
songs, hasn't he? He's got better songs 'cause they've used it for SummerSlam and
So
stuff like that. Yeah, I
and
know.
he's gonna be in Mania as well. He's gonna be there as well.
Yeah, so
They
what does
got him
that
open.
that takes us to potentially 8 matches a night then if those 4 matches get out. I mean, I'd love to see Kit Wilson get a match. Obviously, he's done a brilliant job in the last few months, hasn't he? The theme tune, the everything. I mean, I'm not convinced why he should be losing clean to Jelly Roll. That's not great. But and I know he's not supposed to be someone who wins a lot of matches, but at the same time, that's not great. But I think yeah, Jelly Roll's definitely a right. There's no way he's appearing this much if he's not being at WrestleMania, is he? So we've
This
got Jelly. Yeah.
you would think Jelly Roll is like the main. You would think Jelly Roll is the QB1 of SmackDown. The amount of times he appeared on that show, he
Way
appeared
too. Just it
everywhere.
was last Friday was the bad one. He was just like in every backstage and
Every
did he get an
angle.
RKO though? He got an RKO this week, did he?
Yes,
Yeah.
he was in
Good.
every angle.
Yeah, he
The
was talking to
RKO for
Randy, he's talking to Cody, Kit Wilson. Yeah,
yeah,
Jesus.
the RKO was for that World Cup song. That's why. So Randy, thank you for that. That song,
Yeah,
get rid of that.
exactly.
So yeah,
But the crowd love him, don't they? He's right. And obviously, I know it might not be
it seems
our
like
type
yeah,
of music, and he's not hugely popular in the UK, but he's obviously big in America, isn't he? And in
yeah,
fairness, what I will say about Jelly Roll, he's obviously got into shape, which fair play to him.
mhm,
Whether it's his impact, as Kit Wilson said, or whether he's just been in the gym or whatever, and he's decent on the mic. And to be fair, he
yeah,
loves wrestling, so I'll always give
yeah,
props to someone who loves. Because
yeah,
obviously he's not as big as Bad Bunny, and they would have loved to, I'm sure, to get Bad Bunny. But then, as you said, when Bad Bunny did that Super Bowl, the zeros on the end of the contract was big. And obviously, his time with Bad Bunny, and he's got tour and whatever, and that stuff. And Bad Bunny was really good in the ring, wasn't he? So Jenny was never going
yeah,
to be that. What I would say, the positive I would say about Jenny is that he does genuinely love
yeah,
wrestling, doesn't he? And that makes
yeah.
a bit of a difference. But am I am I going to go to the toilet during Jelly Roll's match? Probably
Yes,
because
you are.
yeah.
You definitely are. You're gonna go to the shop and see if you can get that Liv and Dominic shirt again. That's what you're gonna do. That's what you're gonna do when that match
At least
happens.
get a
He
hot
did.
dog or something. I need a
Yeah,
snack, man. I need it.
yeah. He did. The thing is, Jalen Rose seems like a good, like a chill guy. He does seem that. It's just it's too much.
Yeah,
What's
I
with
know,
that?
I know, and I guess, but this is the thing. Like I get it with ISO speed because he will bring a certain amount
Yeah,
of
I
eyes,
get
and,
it.
and again,
Yeah,
like from his clips, and Jelly Roll to an extent. But is Jelly Roll really gonna? Because he's a musician, he's a country musician. Is he really bringing that many new eyeballs? Because obviously he's been in before. He's had 2 matches. He was at some. I was
yeah,
at SummerSlam last year, and to be fair, he did a decent job at SummerSlam last year. But he was carried obviously by Drew and Logan
Randy.
and Randy in
Yeah,
terms of that. But I don't. I'm not sure if. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I assume that. But yeah, there's no way, Jelly. You're right. I completely forgot about that. But General cannot be on it that much and just not have a match. Question about John Cena can't wrestle in the ring. How about backstage brawl, parking lot brawl? Nah, I don't see him.
yeah. They're not gonna do unless Gunther wants to again, but I
Yeah,
don't think so. I
yeah. I
think
don't. I
I think
don't. I don't.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think he's
I think
done. I think he's done. He's obviously got to an age anyway. He feels like he's done. He's done it,
yeah,
and obviously he gave up in his last match. I think that's the thing, isn't he? He did give up in the spirit of never give up. So I think he's done. I don't. I'm not sure he'll even give an. I think you might be right. I think he'll just come out, announce the attendance, do the thing, and yeah,
yeah.
and literally host it because there wasn't a host last year. So Austin came out, didn't he, and did the thing. There was talk about
And
Austin
ran over
coming.
that woman and run over
Yeah,
that woman.
which I find hilarious because she was so angry and he didn't actually want to, he just knocked her down. If Stone Cold Steve Austin barged into me, I would be like the happiest person in the world. I was like, this is one of the goats.
Yeah. Nick Khan was scared. He ran straight to that seat and he was like, "Are you
You know, Nick
okay?
Khan
Hopefully
sits,
this is
doesn't
not a
he, on the
lawsuit
seat?
that will
Yeah,
be." That's what he was thinking. You're thinking, "Oh, this is my goal." Nick Khan was thinking of his bank account. That's what he was thinking
I
about.
know, I know, I know. She was so angry, but how can someone who was sitting in the front row at WrestleMania be that angry about? Because obviously, if you see her, it was a terrible sell from her because she didn't sell it very well because she got hit and then reacted about 5 seconds later, didn't she? So she's like, "Oh, I can smell the lawsuit from WWE, and oh, that's my front ticket for life now." And whoever she was, but maybe I would have been a lot happier to be there if that was me sitting in the front row getting hit by Stone Cold Steve Austin. But there was talk about I saw something about Austin for WrestleMania, but I don't see how he fits in with anything really. Not wrestling, I mean, but even like as a yeah,
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 I didn't see too much of it, so I doubt that.
yeah. Again, he might come out and announce the attendance like he did last year because that wasn't expected. He wasn't announced for it. He just did it, didn't he? He did it one night, and HBK did it one night. So
Yeah,
drunken drive case, yeah, like the Usos. Um, which one is it, Jimmy or Jay? Jimmy. It's Jimmy, isn't it?
yeah, Jimmy. Yeah,
Jimmy, it's Jimmy. I always remember when the New Day made fun of it when it was thing. But anyway, any last? I've got like a minute left. Any last minute thoughts on WrestleMania? Is there anything you want to see happen in the next couple of weeks to get you more excited?
me. I think just kind of build the feuds up for what you need to do. They've done a great job with Femi and Brock Lesnar. I've been enjoying what they've been doing with that. We'll see what they'll do with Cody and Randy. I know someone pointed out that could potentially Kevin Owens. I think that's a decent shout,
Yeah, there's
especially
history
with
there, isn't there? Yeah,
yeah the history there would make sense. Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley. You could do the best you can, but that's fine. Stephanie Liv has been fine. I think just continue on, and now you have Roxanne Perez. It just kind of brings more of like a underdog slash against the odds thing that Stephanie's going to have now with all of that group being formed. Sami Zayn, Trick Williams. Could it be a double turn? Could Sami turn heel, which I think could potentially happen as he's
yeah,
conflicted with the crimes that the babyface Cody Rhodes has done by just getting unlimited
yeah.
WWE title slots. Jacob Fatu, Drew McIntyre. I think it will be a good match, good unsanctioned match. But I'm thinking, what are we going to do next for these two, especially as time goes on? Can Jacob Fatu get that momentum he had at the start of it?
Joe
Can
Hendry
Drew
is
McIntyre be in a very interesting feud? But who knows? Finn, Dominic should be cool. Ladder match is going to be great. I think I saw a stat where I think Javon Evans could be the youngest IC champion if he does win. So
yeah.
I don't know if they'll pull the
I
trigger
mean,
there
come
or
on,
maybe they'll
Javon,
just
just
go.
Javon in the ladder match is just worth watching,
Yeah,
isn't it? Yeah, that's like,
yeah,
yeah.
Javon, Dragon Lee, JD will all be great as well as Penta. The
JD deserves it as well, doesn't he? JD's been great.
yeah,
I think he's
he'll give a
yeah,
yeah. I think he'll give a really good performance, and I think Seth Rollins and Gunther could be a sleeper for match of the year, or even match
yeah.
of the whole show to
I
an
completely, I
extent.
completely agree. It could be one that steals it all. Like it, yeah. From a pure wrestling point of view, it's like they're both super over. People love them and hate them in equal measures and that sort of stuff. Alistair Black, I hope he's not aligning with Alistair. I don't care for Alistair Black. I just don't have any interest in this man whatsoever. He doesn't deserve. There's more people who deserve to be at WrestleMania, even in just a guest appearance, even than Alistair Black. I just don't. I just don't. It's just not. I don't. I don't. I didn't care for him before he went. I don't know what was he called in AEW. Something else. Whatever his name is,
Malachi.
but yeah, Malachi, and then
I like I,
even the alignment
I like Alistair,
with
but I think where he is right now in his career, he's not gonna get to the position that I thought he was. I think at NXT there was clearly something there, but it's just not there. And I feel like WWE have like secretly swapped Karrion Cross and Scarlett Bordeaux with Alistair Black and Selena Vega.
yeah.
That's just really just a gimmick. Like they've done, like it's
They
literally the
do, and they
same.
start whispering in the background. You're absolutely right. Yeah, yeah,
They're the same. They're literally the same, but they're better wrestlers. But that's what they've done. But yeah, that's and Punk and Roman Reigns keep brawling. Roman Reigns keep calling CM Punk old, but do know that if you beat CM Punk, you've beaten an old person, and if you lose to CM Punk, you've lost to an
you've
old
lost to an
person.
old
So it
person.
kind
I
of
know, I
so
know, I know.
Yeah,
There's a good thing. Last one. There's a question. Thoughts on Cena and a Rock? I don't think the Rock's at WrestleMania or any time, and he's definitely not on the phone to Randy Orton. I mean, that makes no sense at all. I will guarantee you now, guarantee you, the person on the phone to Randy Orton is not Dwayne. And I can't see the Rock being at WrestleMania, and he's not going to face. They had the Cena and Rock had their fame, the last face off at WrestleMania. It was perfect. You don't need to do. I mean, obviously, if I'm there, I'm going to get overexcited if the Rock and Cena are face to face. But there's no match. They're both
yeah,
retired. Well, effectively retired. There's no match. There's
yeah.
nothing else. I think. So I don't see. I don't see. I agree with you, Orton. I think he's making Moana the live action movie with his wig and his old manness, and he's given up on Oscars now because he realised he wasn't that good at that. To be in fairness, I've seen the Smash
He was
Machine.
good.
It's his best.
He was
It's his
good.
best performance, but
Yeah, he was good.
and I love The Rock. That's not saying much. In the other movies he always plays the same character, so there's not a great thing. And look, I said my last thing on The Rock is his best performance was January to April 2024. The final boss, we got that. We all enjoyed that. That's his best performance. Forget the Smash Machine. Forget Moana 8 or whatever's left. We ain't never getting that again, and we just take that as what it was in terms of that build up. I took it was like every Friday he used to just drop this like 11-minute promo on Instagram of him just trash
Yes.
talking Cody's
Yeah.
dog, Cody's mum, Cody's this. It was just like this was gold. It was a golden time, and it led to a proper payoff with the unlike the last time
Mhm.
he was involved. And I know people are really. What I would say is people are really angry because obviously he went and he left and Travis Scott left and whatever. But people are still going to go crazy if he did appear, if he does appear, which he will appear again, because I'm pretty certain he's going to take the Saudi 100 million or whatever they're going to pay him to wrestle next year at WrestleMania. I would
Of
be
course.
shocked. It's money,
He
isn't it?
already he's already there. His name is already on that.
I
He's already on that list. He
I
will be
agree.
there.
I agree. They paid WWE something stupid, haven't they, for WrestleMania? Like it's like I think Vegas paid 5 million and they paid like 100 million or something.
Yeah.
And 5 million's a lot because it used to be a million, and that. And they're going to
Mhm.
pay that same amount just to pay to Dwayne's bank account, aren't they? Just to
Yeah.
wrestle. Which let's be honest, we're all going to watch, but I'm not going, obviously, and I don't think many people are going to it. So, and I
Yeah.
mean, all these years we could have had The Rock versus Roman, 39, 40, 41. 42. It was all rumored, and then we end up getting in a Saudi crowd. But let's not
Yeah.
Kyrie Saints custody. That's good. I mean, I don't know what you saw again. I don't know what you saw on TV, but when EO lost, I'm sure they showed it, but literally she was just dog walking. Kyrie Asuka was just dog walking Kyrie back,
Yeah.
like properly drag. I think Asuka's such. I met Asuka. She's like the nicest, and her English is perfect, which Vince never let her speak, did he, for like years or whatever. But
Mhm.
she was genuinely one of the nicest wrestlers I've ever met. But she plays this bullying character so well. Yeah, and
Mhm.
like I said, when you talk about sleeper match, if we do get Oscar versus EO, there you go. There's a sleeper match for you in terms of,
You could add you
potentially.
could you could add Carry to that.
Yeah,
That would be amazing as well.
yeah. Kyrie. Right, Odin. Thank you for your time. Let's try
No
and do a
worries.
live one more time before WrestleMania. Maybe on the week before, if we can, early that week, because we do a
Mm.
final preview. Um, and then yeah, and then we're good to go. Please, if you're watching this
Yep.
afterwards, like, comment, subscribe. Odin, do you just want to plug your channel? Just so people.
Yep, it's main event mic'd. We currently got some videos that we're uploading. We have one. We just uploaded a video yesterday, just talking about our thoughts on WrestleMania, just our thoughts on the build as well as giving our previews for AEW Dynasty, which will be happening April 12th. Apologies for mentioning AEW in your channel, but it is
Well,
what
when
it is.
it's happening a
But
week before WrestleMania, I didn't even know. That's quite
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
bold move. Yeah. Hopefully
But
they get at least 1,000 people in attendance. Hopefully for this.
here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, brother. Oh, here comes the attendance jokes. Oh, brother. Oh,
What's the main event?
MJF and Kenny Omega.
Okay. To be fair, that's probably as big a match as AEW can put out, can't they? That is a big match. Maybe I'll watch it and give my thoughts.
You're
Um,
not watching it. Stop lying to people. You're not watching this match. You are lying to people. Don't lie to people. Don't lie to people. Do not lie to
Oh, I
people.
might,
Come on, man.
I might watch it. To be fair, that genuinely though. Okay, one quick AEW question. That's probably as big
Uh,
a match as they can put out, though, isn't it? I know Will Ospreay's injured or whatever, but and Will Ospreay's not at that level, is he? But in terms of like their two biggest names. MJF is, in my opinion, their biggest name because he's the one that I know and I can see him
Hmm.
transition to WWE in a few years. But Kenny Omega's
Hmm.
obviously hugely respected and a great in-ring wrestler. But is that's as big a match as they can have?
Yeah, and I think from what MJF has been doing with the AEW World Title and the trajectory, it seems like AEW is going up in terms of the attendance and apparently the TV ratings as well. And I think apparently it's according to MJF and Kenny. Of course, Will Ospreay is back as well, and I think they're all leading towards London, which they're going to go back to. But yeah, you could technically say right now is the biggest match they can do. But I do think they've got other plans, which is going to involve Will Ospreay in London.
I mean,
So
it
I think
makes
that's
sense,
what they're
doesn't it? Will
planning
Ospreay is
towards.
definitely going to go for the title in Wembley. That makes too much sense not to
Yeah.
happen. But,
Yep.
okay. Look, you even snuck some AEW talk into there. And someone's just put, I think it's Billy's in this, but Johnny Gargano match. Not one person wants to see a Johnny Gargano match at WrestleMania. That's what the SmackDown Battle Royal is for, and he'll probably be the first person eliminated. I would
All this
genuinely
hate,
rather see a Candice
all
LeRae
this hate,
match.
all this hate for a good wrestler. That's crazy.
He might be a good wrestler. It's like Rusev, as I said to you, I don't think Rusev's a bad wrestler. I just don't care about him. But I think I genuinely would rather see a Candice LeRae match than I would rather see a Johnny Gargano match.
That no one in real life is saying that. I like Candice LeRae. Candice LeRae is a good wrestler. I've seen
She's a
Candice
good
LeRae even
wrestler.
in from PW when she was taking lumbar checks to Cedric Alexander. But let's be real.
I'm
Like
going to say one last thing.
even the biggest Johnny Gargano haters, and I know them. I know these haters. They hate Johnny Gargano. They know that's a lie. Let's be real. The
I'm gonna
biggest
say
haters, they know this.
one of the best bumps or worst bumps, however you want to describe it, or scariest bumps I've ever seen live was last year at SummerSlam. Was Candice LeRae. Like genuinely, I thought she had broken her
Yeah.
leg when she, in the ladder match. So, and I've never seen Johnny Gargano do anything as good as that. And that is it. Good night. Right. Thank you all. Please like, subscribe, comment on this afterwards. We'll be back definitely at least one more time before WrestleMania. And thank you, Oridon, as always. Always good to
No
chat.
worries. Take care.
Take care. Bye bye.